Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Destitute senior looking forward to a Merry Christmas. With just 2 days to go before Christmas, Simon Rock River senior Kenneth Francis is hoping a miracle. The senior, who was featured in the Jamaica Star on April 6 of this year on his deplorable living conditions, received an outpouring of love and support from young persons, both in Jamaica and those who migrated from the community, as well as the Member of Parliament for the era, Robert Nesta Margon.
I would like to sleep in a good bed, Christmas, and wake Christmas morning around my table, eat in the bed, in the room, eating a good meal from out of the new house what the people build for me, not me, the people, both in the community, and the first people I have to give thanks to are the people, them will come see the condition and take it up and really push it to where it reach. And also I'm more than thankful to all of the people them and things. So I give thanks. And I wish that I first may go face a good Christmas. It not really work out yet, but to as far as me really see it, I feel say me go the wish I'll come true. So I'm glad for the people and everyone will really help me out. And cause even all when the lady then come and I do the first thing, me really never know say it I go reach to this. And the people them say, yes man, it all your work out, and I give thanks. I know so boy it reach to that stage, especially Sister Linda, where take it up and carry it out.
First person who called me was a Rasta woman from St. Elizabeth. And when she saw the story, she said, no, she called me and said, Miss Linda, Lord, one Rasta. He said, me a Rasta, you know. One man really living in one place like that. Me say, yes. He said, me a farming me do. But me no great, you know, but me have to send something come give to it. He said, oh, me say, you can't send it to Western Union. She said, all right, give me your name and me give her. Me tell she was the first person who sent me $10,000 for Mr. Francis. And I keep her in touch. I'd like everything go on, me take pictures and me send to them, post to the people. So right now she promised me paint. Say anytime if she's going to give me paint. We have some young people from the community. I can't express the greatness and the thankfulness towards each and every one. If it's even $500 me get, me satisfy and I put it together, and whatever you see done here is all because of you. God is good and He will ever bless you, and I know God will not allow your store baskets to run empty. He will ever bless you. And
Century Old Bibles shine guiding light for Heckling Garden. 4 aging Bibles dating back to the 1800s are among the most valuable possessions in the Century Old Connelly House and serve as compasses for those who lived within its walls, including cultural and creative industries expert Dr. Deborah Heckling Garden, who now stands as guardian.
What I have is 4 generations of Bibles. So I have my mother's Bible, 2 of my mother's Bibles. The only one I don't have is my actual grandmother, who lived in the United Kingdom for many years. She was one of the Jamaicans who went away in the 1950s. And so I haven't actually physically got her Bible. But what I do have is I have my great-grandmother's Bible. Her name was Miss Hamel. This one is my great-grandmother, a woman called Maggie Clark. Now, I don't know very much about Maggie Clark, but my great-grandmother, who I knew up till when I was about, I would say about 12. She died when I was 12 or so. So we knew her well. She was very instrumental in bringing us up. And she grew my mother. My mother lived with her for most of her life, because her mother had gone to England to make life. And she told us about her mother. My great-grandmother told us about her mother, which would be my great-great-grandmother, Maggie Clark. And she described her as a feisty mulatto woman, very red and very out of order. The kind of woman who she had a sharp tongue and she didn't suffer fools gladly. And as a result of that, my sister, Daniela Hickling, who is now a senior administrator at UWI in Antigua, the Five Islands campus, Grandma used to tell us that Daniela was just like her, and Daniela was her favorite because she reminded her so much of her mother, a feisty mulatto woman, a woman who with lots of spirit and lot of gumption, and said what she meant and meant what she said. So this was her Bible, and my mother's stuff is in it because my mother had it for a while, and it's falling apart. So I have to be very careful with it, but it has her name is written in it in pencil. I was trying to find a date in the Bible, but I couldn't. I know my great-grandmother was born in 1901. So I figure that this must date back to the 1800s, yeah? Because it's her mother's Bible. So if she was born then, clearly she would have been around at that time.
Would you say it was important for you to keep such relics here with you?
Why was it important to me? I'm intrigued by two things. One of them is genealogy and the importance of maintaining historical both artifacts and representations of family. That's very important to me. But also there is an African cultural tradition that speaks to the veneration of ancestors. And I'm intrigued by that, the notion that your ancestors live in your present and that you have to maintain contact with them, you know, in spirit, symbolically, you know, and you can literally call on them and say, you know, just in the same way some people call out, oh God, I'm ball out my mother, whatever. But in a real sort of way that, you know, you keep in mind those people who have come before with a view to determining where you are going next, so that there's always some form of generational connection. I believe very strongly in a generational connection. I believe very strongly in the importance of preserving those things that have come before. As a result, I've preserved all sorts of artifacts. I'm usually the keeper of the artifacts in the family.
Would you say that your family was always a faith-based family, and how was that as a child, in your childhood days?
Faith-based? Oh, absolutely. I suppose it's clear on both sides of my family, on my maternal family and paternal family. I remember my grandparents who lived here, the Hicklings, they had a steady relationship with the Presbyterian Church, as it was now the United Church it's called. And we even had what was called the Hicklings Pew down at Scottskirk. So the old historical church that's about 300 years old on Church Street. It's on Duke Street and Church Street. It backs into Church Street and the front end is on Duke Street. They went there for, oh my goodness, my grandfather was a Jehovah's Witness, and then he changed his religion when he came into Kingston. He's from Mandeville, Manchester, and their entire spiritual life was spent at Scottskirk. They had their funerals there, you know. I think they were both married there and had their funerals there. My father was a little eclectic. He was a believer in in a spiritual being, but I think he experimented with Rastafari for a long time. He was involved in Rastafari, and he's still, up to his death, exposed belief systems of Rastafari. But as a psychiatrist, he was always searching and exploring notions of spirituality and coming to understand the significance of spirituality in the Jamaican psyche, in the Caribbean psyche, in the psyche of black men and women. But my mother, she too was hugely spiritual. She's a journalist, a communicator, and it was from her that I got my interest in culture and cultural exploration as a communications tool. She did a lot of her documentaries on elements of spirituality, but she was interested in grassroots spirituality. So she was interested in the revival church, and she was interested in various doctrines, African doctrines, the Maroons, and their belief systems, and so she was a very interesting woman who really kind of got into grassroots spirituality and grassroots behaviors and so on, and wrote a lot about that in her documentaries. So yes, I think that we can well say that we have been grounded in spirituality, mainly in Christianity, but there have been curiosities, lots of curiosities in terms of how the realms of spirituality that exist. My Christmas wish, it's not a Christmas wish, it is a forever going forward wish. I want to see Jamaicans become aware of themselves in the sort of way that allows them to stand as confident, positive citizens of the world. I want Jamaicans to recognize the value in who they are and what they do and what they have to contribute, in the kind of way that allows them to not only feel the pride, but demonstrate it in a way that the rest of the world can look at us and see something beyond the crime capital of the world, and beyond the corruption capital of the world, and beyond some of these negative things. I think it's almost a cliche now to say that our culture and what we bring to the table is so much larger than we give it the opportunity to be, and that's so much larger than we've been able to organize it to be. I want to see the kind of leadership that is visionary, that brings the rest of us along, that allows us to feel the level of confidence, that allows us to shine, that is inclusive, that doesn't leave out those people based on a whim and fancy, but instead understands the value of each link in the chain and is able to empower and allow for each link, strengthen the weak links and bolster the strong links, so that as they say, on Jamaica may under God increase in beauty, etc., etc.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.